Welcome back to Out of Combat, our Out of Combat after show for our actual play, Casters and Cantrips. Today we have myself, Nina Nikolic. Hello, I play Kuda. We've got Moves Like Jagger and our illustrious DM, Maximus Drake, today filling in for, I believe Bun was supposed to be on today. He's not feeling too well.
So you're stuck with me.
Oh, no. And today was quite the episode, actually. Lots of investigation, lots of information, lots of Pokemon rival vibes.
Oh, yeah.
How did... I have a question, because you bring up the Pokemon rival vibes. How did you feel about that? Because I just basically threw Sylvanor at you and said, here's his deal, here's what it is. I think you did great with it, but
I felt so antagonized and threatened. No, it was hilarious, because the thing is also, like, as a player, I don't particularly know much about about Sylvanor's, like, history. Like, Kuda would know. Kuda knows things and knows, like, what their history is and, like, when he was an asshole and which research he was talking about and stuff like that. But as a player, I don't necessarily know just yet. So, but that also made it, in the moment, especially for viewers, I think a bit more of an authentic interaction between that asshole you haven't seen in ages and you just never, like, someone who basically feels like trauma to you, and you're all of a sudden in the same room and you're just like, well, you're a dick. So there, like, kind of thing.
Yeah. I thought it would be awesome to have Cooter have someone like that, a rival, because I think of like all of these famous, like, scientists of old, and like these people that, like, invent and, like, discover, and most of the time in their own time people hate them and, like, don't believe them and, like, that kind of stuff. So we're just setting up Cooter to be like a revolutionary, like, genius scientist.
Yeah. Also, what is the lifespan of gnomes?
I think
pretty
it's
long.
Like a couple, like 200 to 300 years, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look, but they're pretty long.
Okay, so we might actually kind of be on par.
They can live anywhere from 350 to 500 years.
There you go.
You're on.
Damn it! So
They're
maybe
older.
I could outlive him and just tarnish his legacy after the fact. But who knows? Maybe we can cut his time short, courtesy of Hayden.
Yeah, that's one way to solve your problems.
I thought it was pretty fitting. And then when Hayden turned to threats and then Azure turned to name calling, he's like, oh, this whole thing. Like, I haven't been through this shit before. Like, this is what you people do when you're intimidated by intelligence.
Yeah,
the posturing was unreal.
It's just that smarmy, like, know-it-all person. It's like, you can't do anything to me here. Like, whatever. Like,
which is true. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
which sucked because we wanted to defend Cooter's honor, but we didn't have.
Which was so sweet too. That now, like, the group's gotten to the stage where I feel like if Emmy and Taj were there, like, you know, circumstances happen, it's all good. But if they were there, I feel like it would have been like the coolest, like, Mean Girls scene of just like, he's like yelling across the room like, you're a nerd, and then all the people just come out, like all the outcasts start lining up and surrounding their little turtle friend, just like, yeah, come on, let's go. But as players, though, I think it presented us with, which as villains do, right? We were just talking about villains before this. And how, again, that panel that I did at PAX, we were discussing how the purpose of a villain is to kind of put more obstacles in front of the players and things like that. And we were like this close to getting entry to the archives. And then this guy pops out of nowhere and he's like, by the way, did you know that all of my friends who are in my pocket are everyone related to the archives? And we're just like, no. You
just got to get, like, bigger and better friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting next week, how we can kind of, I think we're kind of redirecting a little bit because time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some bosoms to find, you know.
Blossoms.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, just go back and watch the episode.
Yeah, Bosoms was
Go
last
watch the
last
episode.
season.
Like, go watch the VOD. Yeah.
Yeah, last season was bosoms, but it's creeping back.
that was a Mac thing in her character.
We held our business cards in her bosoms, but they were all crayon drawn, and she would hand them to people.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Amazing. So, how did you feel moves about Zillajarn coming into play for Azric?
I think Azric. I think I, as a player, was shocked that a childhood friend would recognize me, and then kind of like approach me. I think I wanted to play it off where like I didn't want to get involved. I just wanted to like get what we need and get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's not because Azric hates Escos. He doesn't hate the people. He's just like hates the Lotus King.
Mm-hmm.
But like the people are fine, I guess. But I think it was hard for him to like play it off where he's not wanting to care, but like it's like an old friend, so he like nostalgia's hitting him and he wants to be something that he's been missing basically his whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that just from your play, it's like Azric is very like conflicted and torn with what's going on with him back in Escos, because I feel like just from your representation through Azric is like he hates Escos because it's awful and it was shitty and nothing good came of it. And then now like the layers of the onion are getting peeled back. It's like, yeah, he had it like rough, but like, were there any like redeeming qualities of this place? Is it just because he chose to remember it that way to cope with it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's only you can answer that.
Yeah, it's definitely, he viewed Escos through the eyes of a child, and now that he is an adult and returning, like perspective is different. But yeah, like he sees all these people, they're being very super helpful. Everyone's been nice and friendly, but it's just like his trauma is preventing him to move forward, I guess.
Like you still have that like wall or like the shield of trying to protect yourself from everything.
Like, was it really that bad? Like, Azric was sick, but they were trying to help him, but Azric didn't see it that way.
Yeah, and that totally makes sense as a child of like, this is your one job and you can't do it. You guys are terrible. This is awful. I hate this place. That totally makes sense of a conclusion to be drawn from a youngster, a little Azric.
Oh yeah, I'm curious how Azric may or may not grow from our adventure in Esstock or Escos, not Esstock.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weapon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do want questions. Go ahead. You
yeah, I'm curious how meeting with basically like his orphan mom, or like probably took care of him as a kid. How that will change Azric.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting too not having Bun or Mac today, because things could have played out differently.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But
yeah, I hope y'all find her.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If we can find her, like, who knows, maybe the pirates took her and we're gonna have to go and do that.
I'm also in the back of mind, I'm worried about like we need a score or a job to pay the crew. Because we have a crew to take care of now. So it's like we can't just dilly daddle, but we also need to make money to feed some mouths.
But we also need it to gain favor to get into the archives and stuff as well, at least for what Kuda needs in there. But I do think that Emmy will want to go in there as well. So many books.
I think that's the challenging part that we have to overcome is gaining favor to get access to archives, because we know people now, but like, is it enough? Like, we don't really have anything to offer, or put on the table unless it's like favor scratch our back and we'll scratch your back type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and kind of a couple things too is you've got some things that you can use. You have the information about what Ontes is doing. That could be useful to certain people. Probably more on like the council side than like the religious side. But you've got your in with Zillajar, and he offered to set you up for a job, which that would definitely gain some favor. Through the watch helping the people and stuff like that, which is also directly in opposition of you being pirates. Because if pirates were the ones that were taking the shipments, then that's going to cause some issues with y'all too.
Yep.
So, but I mean,
that's why I was hoping maybe we get information on who the pirates were, and they're like, oh, these are asshole pirates, and I mean, most pirates are assholes, but like pirates that other pirates won't care that they're missing type of pirates.
Yeah, that's why we might have to like go see for ourselves, I guess, and then. Oh my God! Imagine if what's her face is there. Head pirate lady. Oh my God, I'm scared now.
Oh, Blackbeak.
That's scary.
Seems too small time for her, but if it was, then we're like, yep, they're keeping those supplies.
You can say goodbye to those supplies, mate.
You got to think too. Is last time you all were in Black Wren Cove, they specifically mentioned there's no violence or attacking other pirate crews while you're at the cove. So y'all aren't at the cove anymore. So I mean,
pirates don't do pirate things. Yeah,
it's one of those things that hey, if you get into a squabble with another pirate crew, you better finish the job. Probably.
And we're mercs, right? Like we gotta do what we gotta do to do the diddly doo doo.
I mean, there's options. We can parlay and like, hey, give us the gear and we'll pay you, or give us gear or we'll blow up your ship type of deal.
Yeah. Lots of
and
options.
then in the meantime, Taj will be running off, blowing it up anyway.
I want to talk to Max or ask a question. How much research do you put into each island and making them so different and unique? Because like Rossadon definitely had a vibe where it's very militant against magic and stuff. And Linares was kind of like this vibe between like two feuding factions between the druids and the church of the first light
Lightsmith.
There you go.
Lightsmith, yeah.
And then we have Escos, which is like very religious city state and just like beautiful. It just seems nice. I don't know why Azric hates it so much.
Yeah, I mean, and trying to think of early on when I was planning for this campaign, because it all just kind of lined up is I had a pantheon. I wanted like an archipelago. Oh, hey, I have this pantheon and there's this many islands. What makes sense if they're all like city states and they have their own patron deity? Like, what would that look like? Okay, an island that's their patron deity is about fire and like forging. How would that like manifest? Or like in this case, Lotus King, like with peace and twilight, like how would that manifest? And I wanted it to be my goal where each of those city states were distinct and unique, because if they're not, then what's the point of having that many of them, right? Just make a continent and have different cities and call it good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it's coming across that they're so different and they're interesting in their own way.
In there, it's insane. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
like today, it was so exciting to like learn all this stuff. Like we went on a guided tour of a museum.
Yeah,
like, that's so cool.
Yeah, and like some like potentially pre-catastrophe like artifacts, which is crazy to think about in this world.
Yeah.
So
it's right there. Like we could just grab it if we wanted to. Well, no, we couldn't if we wanted to, but like it's so close.
Chat thinks we're going to get said items. Yeah.
If we really wanted to be bad guys, we could try and maybe not.
You could try it.
I feel like we'll be dead on site.
You can do whatever you want. So.
With our collective roles.
Yeah, cross another island off the list of places you can go. You can't go to anymore.
Oh, we're still good. We haven't touched on tests, so our Nefarious, we're not infamous there yet.
Yeah, so on tests haven't been Oshamaran, Elanular. Linares is hit or miss depending on who came back and who's talked to who.
Emmanuel, we haven't touched at all, have we?
Mm-mm.
Really? Like there was maybe like just the outer coast of a little bit, I think.
Yeah, you haven't been to 3 of the city states, and you spent the least amount of time in Rosedon since you were basically running the whole time or in jail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But I feel like, I mean, there's time to mess around and find out after we get the stuff we need from Escos.
sure.
We can also get some stuff we might need from Escos, if you know what I'm saying.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, Escos is fun. I think it's really unique, and I'm happy how it's turning out. Or how it turned out.
Well, I kind of want to stay longer and like explore, because for the most part, every island we went to, we've only been in the city state. We haven't really gone outside of the cities.
Explore the wilderness. Yeah. I do
Especially,
hope
like-
that.
Go ahead.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, especially like there's so many resources we need in Escos too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we can't just dip in and dip out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to like really explore this one and not mess
Lots to
around too
do.
early.
Yeah, lots to do if you're willing to do it.
But I was gonna say I hope it's not like as a storyteller and like your own lawmaker, basically, that it's not offensive when I'm like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this thing, like while we're playing. Because for me, I'm like such a visual person that like when I'm hearing the descriptions, I kind of have to build it in my mind's eye, and then as a player, I have to make associations to be able to visualize where I'm at. I kind of take that imagery from things I've already seen or places I've already been. So when I'm like, oh, this place reminds me of Suramar, I'm like, or like a tropical version of Suramar, I'm like, okay, cool. I know what that looks like. And it makes it so much easier for me to like visualize where we're going, who we're talking to, and that kind of stuff. So I think it's really helpful as a player to make those associations, even if they're not necessarily the same. Like it's not like you were like, oh yeah, this place is going to look like Suramar. But when you're describing it, I can at least take those elements and be like, okay, I know what I'm looking at. I understand this place.
Yeah, and I think you sort of like walked into the answer of your original question. Is like it's not bad. That's literally how humans like compare and draw distinctions based on their own personal experiences. Like that's good that you're doing that, because I can't expect you to know what's in my brain no matter how hard I try to tell it to you, right? You know, it's good that you have some sort of indication in your mind of like what this stuff looks like, and that's all I can hope for.
Yeah, because I suppose it's like when I'm reading books, like I might try to read a book the first time and find it really frustrating to like get through, and then that book gets turned into a film or a series. I watch that and then come back to the book, and then I'm like, oh, this is so much more interesting now because I know what I'm looking at and I can like visualize what I'm reading. So it's kind of like that, which I'm just realizing now that like that's a thing for me.
Yeah.
And like why sometimes I struggle getting through some book. Like I love reading, I love books, but yeah, sometimes it can be a struggle to like keep focusing on the words.
So what you're saying is Max needs to write a history book about this world and a campaign setting, and then get a movie deal, and that movie gets made. And then when we come back to the campaign, you're like, oh, it's just like from the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's stressing me out just with you putting that into the world.
Yeah, we're manifesting it right here and now. If any of you movie execs are listening, we want residuals.
I have a ton of shit in my OneNote. Like it could probably be tabulated into something, but the idea of doing that is just like, I don't know.
I
so
think
overwhelming.
The world is so interesting and has so much depth that it deserves like a campaign setting.
It's so cool. Yeah. Agree.
That would be neat.
One day.
Yeah, we'll have pretty pictures and all that other kind of stuff.
With real life concept artists.
Yeah.
Damn right.
We have. What's that?
Said damn right.
Yeah.
Real artists.
We have plenty of real artists here.
Prompt stuff.
We have real artists here already.
Yeah. I'm curious what's gonna happen next. There's so much meat that we haven't even taken a big chunk out of it yet.
A lot of different directions you all can go, and a lot of sort of threads that you can pull on. I'm curious which way that you're gonna go. Some of those seem easier than others, but you have character backstories and sort of preconceived notions to deal with as a party. So it'll be interesting what everyone decides to do.
Mm-hmm. It'll be good. I can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. With that, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Out of Combat. So thanks for watching and or listening. And if you want to make sure on Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific, go watch our live actual plays on Twitch or YouTube. And then you can watch them live, and then the following Thursday you can get all the fun behind the scenes stuff like you just said now. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.